These numbers for Biden seem especially low.
Yeah, they're historically, though.
Biden himself is still claiming that he had a leg up against Donald Trump. That's despite pretty much everything to suggest otherwise.
You think this approval rating number is bad? Take a look at this particular number.
He is really out of it, or he is still being lied to by people around him who are telling him, you could have won, sir. No, you could not have won.
Lower approval rating at the end of his first term than any president on record, Jessica.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can say it. It has been confirmed by a new CNN poll that Joe Biden is the worst U.S. president in history. You can see the shock and you can hear the trembling in their voice when they have to admit what we've all known for years. This man, Biden, is awful. And if to make matters worse, they go to the panel after they reveal this poll and the panel just destroys him too. It's like kicking him when he's down. After all the years of lies and manipulation, it makes it even better that this is coming from CNN. Now let's watch as CNN is embarrassed that they have to admit on live TV that Biden was awful and we were right and they were wrong. Watch.
These numbers for Biden seem especially low.
Yeah, they're historically, though. They're, I dare say, historically awful. What am I talking about here? Well, job approval at the end of the first term. I'm just looking amongst those who lost or didn't run for re-election. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to see which is the lowest number on your screen right now. And an average of polls, my average, Joe Biden's at 38%. He's actually lower than Donald Trump was at the end of his first term. Remember, at the end of his first term, everyone was saying Donald Trump's political career is over. Joe Biden's approval rating's even lower than Trump's was by just a point. He's lower than Jimmy Carter, who was at 44% by the end of his presidency. Not even close to George H.W. Bush, who was at 56%, saw a nice rebound. But the bottom line is this. Joe Biden came in to end the Donald Trump reign in this country, right? End Donald Trump's political career. And all that's ended up happening is Joe Biden has managed to end up at a lower approval rating at the end of his first term than any president on record, Jessica.
Look at that for a second. Joe Biden is lower than Donald Trump was leaving office in disgrace after January 6th. Let me know what you guys think down below. What was Joe Biden's worst moment that led to this horrendous approval rating? And that's why Democrats lost right there, because Kamala Harris couldn't distance herself from a historically low approval rating. She wouldn't say that she would do anything different. She actually was trying to run on the fact that they were so successful. What delusional world were her or her advisors living in? At this point, everybody who voted for Biden and then didn't vote for Kamala Harris is thinking, damn, why not just let this guy Trump just run it for 4 more years? Why do I have to put this guy in? People who voted for Biden were hoping to get some normalcy, but all they got was open borders, record inflation, 2 new wars, radical gender ideology, DEI policies that led to the burning down of Los Angeles. When you put it like that, it sounds like the Biden administration just brought the circus to Washington, D.C. for 4 years. But if you thought that first poll was bad, wait until you see this second poll that proves that Biden actually was even worse than that. Watch.
And how are people reflecting on his entire presidency at this moment?
Yeah, so if you think this approval rating number is bad, take a look at this particular number. All right, a good or great president at the end of their terms. Well, Barack Obama, 52% of Americans thought he was a good or great president at the end of his presidency, 2017. Donald Trump, very much behind Barack Obama at 36%. But look at how low Joe Biden is. My goodness gracious, you can't really get lower than 25% in our polarized era, because the bottom line is there's going to be a bunch of Democrats who would say that Biden was a good or great president no matter what he did. But yet it's only a quarter of the country who believes that Joe Biden was a good or great president. It is the lowest number since AP Nork started tracking this back at the end of Barack Obama's second term. Bottom line is Joe Biden goes out a very unpopular man at the end of a 50-plus year political career.
I mean, you want to talk about historically bad numbers. Those are historically bad numbers right there. And you know nobody on the right was voting for him being good or great. So that means half of his own Democrat Party voted that he was not good at all. It makes you wonder where those 10 million votes for Biden went. But as expected, I mean, we feel all the energy going on in the country. Donald Trump's numbers are actually historically good. Watch.
I do want you to talk us through Trump's popularity at this point.
Yeah, so if Joe Biden's numbers are at his lowest point, right, Donald Trump's are right near his top point. We have a little thing up here. I'm so tall, I was managed to able to actually bump it. Look at this. Trump's record favorable rating. You go back 4 years ago, he was at 38%. Look at where he is today, 47%. That is the highest favorable rating Donald Trump has ever registered in an average of polls. So what we're dealing with is something very interesting, whereby, as I was saying, Joe Biden's at his worst point. Donald Trump is actually at his best point, being with this such a high favorable rating. One other little last thing I will point out, because I want to get to the forecast a little bit, is just take a look at this. Will Trump be a good president? In January of 2017, you saw 48% for Donald Trump. Look at where we are today. A majority expect that Donald Trump will be a good president. So expectations for him are quite high. We'll see if he's able to meet those expectations, Jessica.
Yeah.
I mean, people are ready for change. What can I say? And I know Democrats are Trump deranged and they can't admit he does anything right. But as an objective person, I've reported these things to you guys. He has done so many tangible things since being elected and not even being in office yet, that you cannot deny that he is an effective president. I mean, for so many people who were captured in the clutches of woke culture, Donald Trump released the shackles. People were like, hey, I can say that I don't want my teacher talking to my kids about sexuality anymore. That's okay again. It was like the common sense was completely dissociated with any policy that the Democrats wanted to do. So now that CNN was forced to admit that Joe Biden was no good and people are actually excited for Trump, listen to how it's just open season on Joe Biden by the panel. Like they got the green light and they took the gloves off immediately. Watch.
Biden himself is still claiming that he had a leg up against Donald Trump. That's despite pretty much everything to suggest otherwise.
I feel bad for Biden, honestly, because that man's delusional. And so either he is really out of it, or he is still being lied to by people around him who are telling him, you could have won, sir. No, you could not have won. And Kamala Harris was not the reason he lost. Obama was not the reason he lost. Nancy Pelosi was not the reason he lost. If there's not going to be any introspection, these races are won by three things: candidate, message, and policy. He's got to take responsibility for all three of those things because he failed on all three of those things. He could have gone out a hero had he stuck to being a one-term president.
Yes, I agree.
Joe Biden even thinking that he could have beaten Trump is also part of the reason why the Democrats lost, because they legitimately kept a senile old man as president for 4 whole years, and our country paid the price for it. And it's like they can do all the lying that they did over the 3.5 years that he was perfectly fine, he was sharp, but the American people have eyes and ears, and we knew that they were lying to us about that. I think everything that the Democrats did turned off the Democrat voters, and they were just kind of forced to vote for Kamala. But that had to be something that was majorly offensive to them. That their party was coming out and just blatantly lying to their face that Joe Biden was all right. And we understand why now, because they had a situation where Obama staffers were basically making every executive decision as if they were the president. Obama was able to have 4 more years in office while Joe Biden was eating ice cream. Like, this administration will be a political case study for years to come on how badly you can wreck an entire economy in 4 years with the right people. Now listen to this panel rip the Democrat Party so badly, you would think you're watching Fox News.
Schumer, to his face, warned him, if you run, you will go down in American history as one of the darkest figures. He was warned.
Yeah, I just think that, it's unfortunate the vice president was put in this position by the Democratic Party anyway. And then now the bigger question becomes, where do they go? Can you even heal at this point? Or do
it
you
doesn't
just write your book
feel like they're healing. They're pointing fingers. No clear leader. Nobody is saying this is what we should do to move forward. He's saying he should have won. She's mad at everybody. She doesn't want to talk to anybody because she knows the dealings of being a politician are the dealings of being a politician. And everyone's acting like they're new to this.
There's a mechanism for this. I went through the Republican autopsy. I worked on that autopsy. When you look at the mistakes you've made, you can improve and go on from there. I don't see anyone talking about a
how
Democratic
to
policy.
exactly like a full hygiene, like break it down from top to bottom.
It's what we've been saying forever. The Democrat Party is in shambles. Do people not remember they didn't even have a primary? That's not just some small thing. And now the Democrats have a divided party. You have people like John Fetterman who actually want to work with Trump, advance some agendas here for the American public. And then you got the other side, the ghetto Jasmine Crockett's that don't want to do anything with the Republicans. And some of these Democrats like Fetterman are just simply realizing that the public voted for this. The people voted for this. People in their own states voted for this. They represent their constituents, so why would they stand in the way of what they asked for? They really have no serious leader. Kamala Harris, ruined, ran out of town. Gavin Newsom, his city is on fire, embarrassed to the American public. He'll never be president. Then you got Hakeem Jeffries, Walmart Barack Obama. No one's buying what he's selling. They have no unified message and they don't have a figure to unify around. That's why I'm convinced the Republicans have the next 1 to 2, maybe even 3 elections, because this was historical damage that was done to the Democrat brand. And you can see that with the poll numbers that they showed. But the last thing I'm going to show you is Joe Biden did an exit interview with fake Walter Cronkite, Lawrence O'Donnell. I can't stand this man. And in this interview, Joe Biden just insults red states so badly for no reason. It's not enough that he called Trump supporters trash. Now he's calling red states stupid. Watch.
I got a lot of criticism, understandably. We've invested more in red states than blue states.
That's in this book. That's in this report.
Well, for 2 reasons. One, red states really screwed up in terms of the way they handle their economy and the way they handle manufacturing, the way they handle access to supply chains. You know, I remember being out in Iowa, and I remember one of the big issues was that there was a small plant for 300 people, been around for 70 years. My grandfather worked there, I worked there, my son works there. And they had the best education system at the time and rated the best state education system in the country. And all of a sudden the kid comes home after he graduates and says, Mom, I got to leave. There's no job for me here. The factory shut down. Well, guess what? How do you run a country that way?
It's so disrespectful of a president to talk about their citizens that way. It's disingenuous too. Coastal cities have always been the largest cities. That goes back throughout human history. And for our 3 largest cities, they're so large that they turn the states blue. But once you get out the top 5, you start to see blue cities exist in red states. And there's a lot of theories why cities turn blue so often. One theory is because cities are bigger, their local governments invest more in projects and programs. They have big departments, fire departments, police departments. So residents are used to a larger government that is intertwined in everyday life. Another theory is because there's more diversity in cities, the residents are more prone to be favorable of Democrat policies that highlight equality and inclusion issues. But the point is, blue states and red states are equally as important. You need those high density coastal big city metropolitan areas that fuel growth and innovation. But if you're the type of business that needs to open up a factory, and the larger you can build your factory, the more you can produce, you're not going to go looking to build that in a highly dense city where the land values are very high. You're going to go somewhere like the middle of Nebraska, and you can build a major factory, employ a lot of people, give a lot of good paying jobs, and also stimulate growth in your own way. So it's very disingenuous for Biden to make this claim about red states, that they're so stupid, that they're less superior to blue states because blue states are richer. But again, another reason why he's leaving the most unpopular president in history. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. Turn on those notification bells so you guys never miss a video. And I will see you in the next one.